Well, this is Betting Weekly Premier League show. You're with myself, Dan Roebuck, alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. Boys, the title race done and dusted, is it? After last weekend's surprise defeats for both Arsenal, as predicted by Nigel, we have to say, and Liverpool. It means that City are minus 250, Nigel, for the title now. Are they over the line?
You say surprise. That wasn't much of a surprise, the Aston Villa one. I mean,
Surprise in terms of the odds, not in
yeah,
terms of your selection.
I'll come on to that. I'll come on to that in a minute. I mean, the thing is, like, before we go into the answer your question, I was absolutely gutted that we never gave an actual half a point or something like that on Aston Villa to win. That would have really helped them there. So I hope some people did bet that. Anyway, well, I mean, this season, any other season, you would probably say yes. But this season, I just got a feel there's going to be some slip-ups along the way from
It's only
other
2
sides.
points, isn't it? It's only 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, if Arsenal was being told they're in this position at the start of the season, they'd take it. If Liverpool said they were in this position just behind Manchester City with a few games to go, they'd take it. And the other good thing it's imperative for Man City, for Arsenal and Liverpool to win. They've got 2 matches before Man City kick a ball in the Premier League. So they're must-win matches this weekend, and they have to win the next one. Then they put the pressure on Man City. And we saw last night pressure on them. Are they as good as what they were last year? Is Haaland the same player? There's question marks about him. Question marks about Guardiola. I don't know. We've in the last 3 weeks we sat here and said Liverpool in the box seat. Then we said Arsenal in the box seat, and now we're saying Man City in the box seat. And I think in the next 3 weeks we might be saying the changes are well. I don't think it's as clear cut as minus 250. No, I don't.
Arsenal 4-1, Liverpool 6-1. Jack, what are your thoughts off the back of those results last week? And it was just, I think, one after the other. Liverpool get beat, surprise. I was in the press lounge at Emirates, and then, suddenly Arsenal get beat. And I know that it was a value play and Nigel tipped it up, but it was still a surprise. No one, yes, Nigel predicted, but no one, certainly in the press thought it was going to happen. And, 9-1, 10-1 was the price it was. What do you make of the current state of the market when it comes to the title race?
Yeah, I think you wouldn't want to be back in City at that price. Certainly, it is advantage City, but as you say, I think a lot's been made of it when as you say, it's still very, very tight at the top, and it was only, I think, because again, as you say, it happened all in the space of a few hours that it fell apart a bit for those two sides, and we've got City at the top again. But it's a huge weekend for the other two sides, Liverpool and Arsenal, of course, if they have got the opportunity to put the pressure back onto City. If they do slip up again, though, obviously there'll be questions asked. There'll be mounting pressure, and then it certainly is over to Manchester City. But the season's been mad, as we've said. So I think there's certainly still some twists and turns to come yet. But advantage City certainly.
Just one last thing on this thing. I mean, we've sort of come used to Manchester City going on these unbelievable winning runs. Like 20 games in succession, unbeaten runs, and then winning the last 10. That's pretty much not how it used to be. It's only about last year that Man City did it, the year before they've sort of done it as well. So it's never been that sort of thing. So teams do drop points in running to the titles. And, I think that the fact they're at the top and the other two have to win, it's all down to what these two do this week. If they can win those 2 matches and then they put the pressure on Man City to win, I would expect Man City will slip up, because I think Man City have gone backwards from last year. I really do.
We will tackle the games featuring Arsenal and Liverpool. Arsenal take on Wolves away from home, and Liverpool are in the capital away at Fulham. We're also going to give you 1 or 2 leans on the FA Cup semi-finals as well. Manchester City, of course, play in the FA Cup semi-final, as the boys alluded to. But we've got 3 Premier League games to cover with official plays here, and the boys are pretty strong on some of the picks. So take note here. Maybe not as strong as Nigel was when screaming from the rooftops 9-10-1 about Aston Villa last week, saying it was better this season, which cashed on that 3/4 ball handicap. But nonetheless, some interesting plays and some similarities when it comes to the boys' thoughts for this weekend slate. We're going to kick off Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Luton against Brentford. Luton plus 220, Brentford plus 115. The draw plus 280 here. Luton a point from safety. Nigel, look, if they're going to stay up, have they got to win this game? I mean, when you look at their schedule, is this the one? Well, look, this is Brentford at home. They've got to win this one. Surely Rob Edwards is going to be targeting this as the most likely to pick up 3 points. How do you see it?
Yeah, this is a must-win match. There's no doubt about it. They've got to win this because the other two sides are playing each other. So you would think if someone's going to make ground on them, whichever way it is. So, it's a must-win match. it's a huge match. I mean, I think at home this season, Luton have been gallant losers in the big matches, but they've done quite well against teams in or around them at the bottom of the table. Obviously, the last time they played at home, they won 2-1 against Bournemouth, which was like they're winning in a bad run. They've had a bad run in recent weeks. The one thing that you know with this Luton side, though, as Jack touched on last week with his excellent pick. I mean, Jack had a winning week last week. I actually had a losing week, so he's sort of clouded in that Aston Villa prediction that sort of
I didn't want to mention it.
overshadowed Jack's. But when you said 3/4 ball, it was actually 1 3/4 ball.
One and 3/4 ball.
That's how crazy the price was.
Yeah.
You thought it was a 3/4.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jack had a winning week, and one of the bets he gave was Luton to both teams to score against Manchester City, and it cashed. Luton has just got goals in them. They've scored in every single one of their games in the Premier League, barring one since October. That was against Arsenal. So you know that Luton are pretty much going to score. And Brentford, for me, I mean, last week, that was a heartbreaking bet I had where I bet Sheffield United plus 1.5 against Brentford, and Brentford scored in the 93rd minute, 94th minute of the match.
How often have Brentford done you with a 94th, 95th?
Not only Brentford, but every team in the Premier League this season has done me in the 93rd, 94th minute. But it was a heartbreaking match. But it didn't really encourage me that Brentford were any. The logic behind the bet, I think, was a great bet. And if it happened every single week, even though we lost, I'd do exactly the same bet every single week. And now there's obviously a huge bust up going on with Ivan Toney. I mean, he didn't play again in that match. There's something going on behind the scenes. Where's he going to go? I don't think anyone's going to fancy him. You know, he comes with a bit of checker pass. He's obviously got a little bit of a swagger about him. He fancies himself, and he's not going down well at Brentford. So where are they going to score goals? They only scored 2 goals at home, but without him in the side, attack-minded, they are definitely depleted. Whereas Luton have got the goals here. The last 2 home matches for Luton was that 2-1 win against Bournemouth, but they come from behind. They got a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest. I just think that they've got to do something at their home. Their home matches are Brentford, Everton, and Fulham. They're their last 3 home matches this season. They've got to get 7 points from those 3 matches, if they're going to survive, because their road games are quite difficult. And this is where they've got to go for it. And I think the way they play, the way they're going to be right at it, I think they've got a great chance of getting something here against the Brentford side that, you know, you could make the case after last week's win, probably are safe. You probably need 1 more win. I think they'll pick up 1 more win. But the intensity from Brentford side has definitely dropped after that win here, I would have thought. So I think here, if you look at Brentford's road record this season, it's atrocious. They've only won once in 12 matches, 10 losses in those games as well. And I just, for the life of me, I just can't understand why Luton are the big underdogs here. I mean, they're big underdogs, like plus 220. I wouldn't put anybody off betting Luton on the money line. But I think because Luton do concede a lot of goals, we know they're going to score. They're vulnerable. You know, that crazy game against Bournemouth when they were 3-0 up and then they got pegged back to 4-3. I do slightly concerned about the draw here because a draw would probably help Brentford. I think Tony, I expect to be rested, and I think they'll bring him on and he might get a goal at the end. But I'm worried about the draw. So for that reason, I definitely want to be on the Luton side here. And I like Luton on the draw no bet market at plus 130. So if it's a draw, we get our money back. If Luton win, we get the win at plus 130. But I think that's a insurance play with that draw, which is a big runner. And I'm amazed that Luton are the price they are here. I think at home, we know how hard it is to go there. We've seen big clubs go there this season and struggle. They get through with a win, but they have conceded goals. And Luton here is a cup final to them. And I just think they're going to go out, and I think they will get the win. But I think for the best bet of the match, I think to get the draw on our side as well. So, or of a hedge of a push. So Luton draw no bet plus 130 is the bet for me.
Similar theme, slightly different play from Jack.
Yeah, it's the same thinking. This game leapt off the page at me when these fixtures were, I was looking for them. It was the one I wanted to play. Nigel's picks went in first in our group, and it was there for him as well. Obviously, playing that tiny bet. Mine was the fact that I'm playing plus a quarter of a goal start for for Luton, which basically is half the stake on tiny bet and half a stake with a half goal start. So a draw would actually get us a small win there, and I just feel that we're both singing off the same hymn sheet with this, and it does mean that there is a tiny profit if it does end in a draw, which is a runner, of course, as we've said, but again, wouldn't put anyone off Luton on the money line because I think this is a massive game for them. And they've been getting loads of plaudits, but they need points. They got to that point where they do need to be turning those good performances, those gallant performances. They've been up against all the big boys and give them a run for the money. Even last week, like I said, when they could have easily down tools, they keep going. And I just wanted to take Brentford on, as I've done over the last few weeks generally, because they're just everything that made them so good over the last couple of seasons. When they burst into the Premier League, they were that side that would stand up to the big boys. They would go and take them on. They were together. Everyone was say united in what they were looking to do. They had good talent in forward areas. They defended well. And that's all been fragmented now. It just seems that this Ivan Toney thing is just kind of completely. This seems to be an end of an era for Brentford. They're going to have to reinvent themselves next season, possibly with a new manager, certainly with a new striker. And can they do that? It's going to be a big ask for them. But for the here and now, I just think there's so many questions about them. And what made them so good is no longer there. And kind of Luton have sort of took that mantle to a certain extent. They are that side that are going to go for it. They are aggressive. They will play direct. They will get up in your faces. The crowd are right behind them. They've got all those things going for them. And I think Brentford could go here and suffer a defeat because, as Nigel said, their away record is woeful. 4 wins in 22 for them. And as I say, we've got this opportunity here to take Luton on a plus handicap or on the Tyno bet as well. And you've got to consider that Brentford have visited both the other promoted clubs and lost to both of them, lost to both Burnley and Sheffield United away from home. And I'm going to take Luton here to make it a happy trio.
Yeah, good stat about the teams that are on their level. Certainly, that's what you got to look for sometimes in situations like this. Luton minus 195 to go down just very quickly. I mean, there's no prices to stay up. Nigel, you think they've got to get 7 points from their home games? I mean, do we think they'll stay up? And what's you got here? You know, forget the prices. Do you think they'll have enough?
Well, I've bet Forest and Everton to go down, so I'm hoping they do. But I think this is a huge weekend at the bottom because obviously the next match we're going to come on to is really crucial at the bottom of the table as well. You've got this Luton match. This is a must-win match. We're talking any chance of them surviving, they've got to win this match. If they win this match, they will be absolutely pumped, and then they'll go into the matches against Everton and Fulham. Fulham on the last day of the season, I think it's at home. If you need a win, that wouldn't be a bad fixture really to play. So I think this is it. They've got to win this game. If they don't win this game, they're gone, I think.
You've not actually given me an answer. Great politician's answer there from Nigel.
The answer to that question is yes. I want them to start because I bet the other two teams. I'm worried. I'm not going to make the thing, but I think if they win this match, they will stay in the Premier League.
There you go. There we go. It's like, look. As we all know on this show, and all the viewers know, Nigel sometimes he's not very opinionated. He doesn't like to put himself out there. It's hard to get a straight answer for him. So, Jack, your gut feeling: Luton stay up or not?
My gut feelings, I think they fall just short. But massive game because this really will pile the pressure on those other two sides directly above them who play the next day. So this sets the tone for the weekend. Luton get 3 points here. They're guaranteed to gain ground on at least one of those two rivals. And as I say, it sets the tone and puts a big amount of pressure, makes that an even bigger clash on the Sunday. So, let's get the Luton win and we'll all be happy.
Everton versus Nottingham Forest is the game that you're referencing there. This is Sunday at 8:30 Eastern. Everton 4-1 to go down. Forest plus 225 in the relegation market with Bet Rivers at the moment. Everton minus 104 to win this game. Forest plus 280 to win. The draw plus 270. This is the points deduction derby. Who needs to win this one more, Nigel, do you think? Would Sean Dyche look at this and think, do you know what? A point here just keeps my team above Forest and I'll take my chances? Or is it, I've got to take this opportunity and I've got to win this game? How do you see it in that sort of sphere?
I think the tactics and the approach to play all depends on the Luton result. I think if Luton get beat, then this could possibly be a draw, suits both of them. If Luton win, then I think both of these sides will have to win this match. I think it's a huge reflection on what happens on Luton. If Luton, that's why I quite like the draw in this match. But I think if Luton get beat, then I think these two could have a little bit of a carve up and take a point each and be happy.
Well, that's interesting because let's get on to your plays here. Both have gone for exactly the same bet. So this is the 2-unit play on the EPL show, stolen from the European show, but we'll let Nigel and Jack off. Nigel. So just I mean, would your play? We don't know you play yet, but would your play change then if Luton win on Saturday or not? You still?
No, I still think it's changing. So, basically, the play is under 2.5 goals. So the play here is under 2.5 goals. I think this is a really, really it's a massive match for both sides, regardless if Luton win. But the game, I think if Luton lose, then this one could either be stronger for the under 2.5. And I think the draw at plus
Yeah.
270 is a huge
Yeah,
bet.
yeah,
So I think it
definitely.
works in our favour if Luton. But even if Luton win, then these two don't want to
It's a
lose
sort
either.
of dare not lose
So
situation. Sorry, go on.
they want to win. So I think it helps us. So the bet is under 2.5 goals. For the reason of the way, obviously, the way this positioned in the calendar, the Luton going before on the Saturday, these play 2 on Sunday. I think plus 270 was very close to being a bet here for the draw as well, because I think that could definitely move in the market if Luton get beat. But I'm hoping Luton don't get beat. And I think here that these two sides will be very, very cagey. They don't want to lose this match, whatever happens. Regardless of that, regardless of the way the match is set up, look at the statistics. Everton absolutely dreadful against Chelsea. I mean, that was awful performance. And 6 they could be still playing now. They wouldn't have scored. There's no way they'd be scoring in that game. Calvert-Lewin didn't play. He had a hamstring injury. Should return back for this, but he is a doubt. So I mean, he's saying someone who hadn't scored in 14 matches or something. He's the most crucial player for their goal scoring things. It shows you the state that they're in at the moment. They obviously Branthwaite, the defender, got injured, come off. He's a doubt as well, which doesn't really help the unders, but he's a doubt as well. So Everton aren't in the greatest of shapes there. Everton, the lowest home scorers in the Premier League. One of the lowest home scorers, 16 goals. They've only scored. They've got the 5th best defence, though, in the Premier League at home. That's behind City, Liverpool, Arsenal. And who's the other team, Dan? Who's got a better defence from at home? So the top 3.
And Crystal Palace.
Fulham.
Close. That was close. I'm taking half a point on that.
And you've got Forest, who are the 4th lowest road scorers behind Sheffield United, Burnley, and Everton. So the statistics here suggest it's going to be low scoring as well.
And Nigel says that my quizzes are rubbish. Anyway, go on.
That was good. That was absolutely like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style questions compared to the shoddiness of the questions that you've been giving over this season. But if you look at the stats, Everton don't concede many at home. They don't score many at home. Forest don't score many on the road. It just brings itself into a low-scoring match. The state of both teams at the bottom of the table fighting for their lives means it could be quite cagey. Going back years ago, this match would have been a 2.2 goal line match. It's that kind of sort of feel to it. Nobody wants to lose, and then you bring in the fact that Luton are playing as well on the day before. That has a huge factor and a huge bearing in the way they set the sides up. The reverse fixture was a 1-0 win for Everton, which is another low scoring. Last season as well in the Premier League, they played in 2 draws, which helps the draw case as well. One was a 1-1, one was a 2-2. But I just feel here with the state of the match, how important it is for both sides, and at the bottom, they may think to themselves, you know what, a point here. If it's 1-1 with 25 minutes to go, I'd probably be heading to Bet Rivers and betting the draw in play.
Jack, you like unders as well. Talk us through your reasoning.
Yeah, exact same bet for obviously the same reasons, really, to be fair. And that defeat on Monday night, that hammering on Monday night has played a bearing as well, because I think it's even more likely to go unders in this one. Sean Dyche is not the type of manager that's going to shrug that off and go, it was just not a good night for us. It was a bad day at the office. He was fuming after that, and rightly so. He called it ugly, he called it dire, all the words that all the Evertonians will be using as well. And he'll be drilling into them on the training pitch over the course of this week to make sure that those mistakes, the sloppy mistakes that they made, the defensive chaos that they had, aren't repeated in this massive game. Goodison Park will be full. It always is. It'll be a big atmosphere there on Sunday lunchtime, UK time. And they'll expect a response. So do expect Everton to probably go flying into this one to set a bit of a tone and as a bit of an apology for embarrassing their fans on a Monday night football. Monday night. So yeah, that's kind of part of that stuff. We expect more of a tough, a resilient kind of performance from probably both these sides. The question, Nigel's touched on it, where are the goals coming from? You just can't see them. They say only Sheffield United with less goals this season across the board. And overall, Nigel touched on the home defensive record, but overall, only the top 3 conceded fewer goals than Everton at home and away this season. So mad stats when you consider it, that to say the process at one end is working very well and the process at the other is horrendous. So the reverse fixture ended 1-0. And this fixture last season ended 1-1. So both cashing for the unders bettors there. 2 pragmatic managers as well. I think we've seen goals as we have done all season, but it's generally against the opponent that's kind of forcing the deal. Here, we've got 2 managers that are happy to let the other side have the ball and two managers that are happy to be more defensively minded. So I think that's going to win over in this particular one. And I say over the last 2 seasons, Forest are the worst side away from home of all the sides that have played. Obviously, been relegated, so played the full complement of fixtures. They're the worst side on the road. And Everton, another quiz question here for you, Dan. You can answer this one. The last time Everton won at home and conceded in the same game, so basically did not win to 0.
The last time that they did not or did win to 0.
This is worse than this is worse than
that's not worse. Their last 10 home wins have been to 0.
Have they?
Yes.
So we're going back a couple of seasons, are we?
Yes. Over the last 2 seasons, all our home wins have been to 0. The last time was the 19th of May, 2022, where they won and conceded against Crystal Palace. So if they are to win this and they do nick it, it's likely to be a cagey 1-0, 2-0 scenario.
Do you know, I nearly went Crystal Palace because that was the quiz question I nearly got right with Nigel. Palace are my go-to one and done.
Yeah, 3-2.
Jack touched on it there at the top of his case for the unders. Is that obviously that stat I gave earlier in the season when teams have that big heavy defeat, the next match after usually goes unders. I think I can't remember the actual stats that I dug out at the time, but it was a huge
I can't believe you've not kept them because you went back about 5 years.
5 years,
200 games worth.
Took me all week to work all that. Yeah, so I went through. There is that factor as well, which is huge when you have a big disappointing defeat like that. You work so hard, and the next match.
I mean, in a way, you know,
going, yeah, like you just getting, we all know that's old stuff, Dan. What's going on here? In the season, he's getting all cocky in the season.
What I was about to say is you've given out some interesting and some pertinent statistics. Statistics. But the biggest one is the price here, isn't it? I mean, you're talking even money. It sounds like a real significant value play because all the stats you're suggesting here should be big minus money.
Well, I think it's because I think it would have been if it wasn't for the season we're having.
Yeah.
I think if this was a match 3 years ago and these two teams are in the position they are, you would be looking at this a minus 150 unders. It's just the season we're having now. But if you look in the last couple of weeks, the unders have been sort of gradually sneaking back in. I am feeding the kids again, so things are sort of changing a little bit. But I do like the draw here, though. I can't believe the draw is plus 270. I mean, the traditional draw price in a Premier League game is what, plus 240, plus 230. Why is this plus 270? And I think the draw could really work out. So my second bet would be here my lean would be for a draw in this match.
What did I tell you both in January this year when it was the draw? What did I say?
Next match, please.
I said if you back the draw between now and the end of the season, you make money. Your 16.5% return on investment from the 1st of January to today.
The only thing is
I did tell you that. Listen, on the YouTube channel, people are crying out for my selections. I gave a trend in January.
Yeah, they're crying when they get them. They're crying when they get them.
If people want to follow it or not follow it, it's up to them. Right,
the
let's
only
move
thing
on.
I can remember coming out of his mouth this season, Jack, is terrible quiz questions and all those box that he put on that back of that t-shirt. That's all I can remember. Nothing else.
Nude shirt on today because he's run out of space on the other one. I was just going to say quickly on this one, cards could be a nice play. I know a lot of our viewers and listeners can't get on those markets in the States now, so we've avoided it. But it's a relatively low line considering the nature of the game. 4.5 is the card line here at minus 103. So those that can might be worth a little interest. Not the best referee, but I think Game State here could lead this one to having a few.
Yeah, and if you do want a t-shirt, the Dan Roebuck Volume 2 t-shirt is coming out next week with new additions. Tour dates.
Tour dates.
Oh, dear. Aston Villa versus Bournemouth is 10 a.m. On Sunday. Villa minus 136, Bournemouth a plus 335 here. Villa, of course, play Lille in the Conference League quarterfinal second leg tonight, but obviously we're really good against Arsenal last weekend. Nigel, you are going in again on Villa here. What's the play?
Yeah, I don't know if I told you, but I backed Aston Villa last week. It seems like. I'm going to go with Villa again. I wanted to bet them on the money line. It was minus 125, which I thought was a big price, but they've been betting to a little bit now, minus 132 or 134.
136, yeah.
One even heavier. So they opened up minus 125, and I thought that was too big. Villa obviously got that Europa League game. A lot of people look at the Europa League game, but it's Lille. It's in the northern France. I mean, you can get a train there. You're back in an hour and a half on here, so it's not like that far.
How would Sean Calvert get there?
He'll get commute on the bus. $1 bus. He'll walk.
National Express.
But anyway, it's I think it's a big price here. I mean, if you could sort of pick a few players that you want, teams that you want. I know I sort of repeat this quite a bit. I think Bournemouth would be up there, but despite that, Bournemouth in good form. They've only lost one in the last 8, but that match against Luton. They played 5 of those matches in that period though at home, and they've had 5 in the last 6 matches. 5 of them have been at home. They played 4 consecutive home matches. So on the road they've only had 1 win since the new year, and that was at Burnley. So all their good stuff is being done at the Vitality. On the road they're not so great. I think Villa now, especially what happened last night in the Champions League with the 2 teams, the 2 English seeds being out, the coefficient now means that it's very unlikely that we're going to get a 5th spot for the Champions League.
We ain't going to get a 5th.
Well, there's a slight probability that we can. But if Liverpool turn it around tonight and Aston Villa win this competition, that there is a slight probability, but it looks very unlikely. So that means that this 4th place now is crucial, and Aston Villa are in the box seat, so they need to get 4th. 5th is not good enough. No Champions League space as it stands now. So this is a must win for them. I think they're in great shape. They had that little blip, didn't they? They started the season winning all those home games where they're hardly unbeaten. They couldn't get beat at home. Then they had a little bit of a blip, but now they're unbeaten in the last 4 at home. Watkins' confidence is sky high. He's got goals in the top Premier League goal scorer. The goalkeepers is in sensational form. They had a few injuries. Lewis is out suspended as well here. Bournemouth have some injuries as well. A lot of key players for them. A lot of sort of attack-minded players are out. And I just feel here they're going to come in from that huge win against Arsenal, full of confidence. They'll probably get through tonight. The Lille, I think they'll probably edge it through to the semi-finals. The feel-goods factor there, and they now have to cement 4th place. 5th is not good enough, so it's a must-win match for them, and I think they'll win. I think Bournemouth despite that good run, I think it's misleading because most of their matches were at home. So I'm going to go for Villa to win this minus 0.75. On the Asian handicap at minus 113. Half the bet was on Villa minus a half, and the other half is on Villa minus 1. So if Villa win by more than 1 goal, we collect on all our stake. If Villa win by exactly 1 goal, we get a push on 1 and only win half the wages. So a Villa win is good for us. I am tempted by the money line, but the line has moved, so I'm happy to take the minus 0.75 in the Asian handicap.
And if Villa do win, more than likely that Watkins is going to contribute to it, and that brings us to Jack's selection.
Let's hope so, yeah. I'm taking him here to score anytime plus 104. Again, we've asked these questions before. Are there likely to be a few goals in this one? I think so. So therefore, we'll go with the anytime rather than the first goal scorer bet. And he's on fire, isn't he? I agree with Nigel. I think Villa win this one. Bournemouth aren't the best on the road. And we know Villa are extremely strong there. And Villa Park, that old traditional ground we've talked about before, will be absolutely rocking, especially if they get through tonight. And Nigel makes a great point about that top 4 place now likely to be 4th to get that Champions League spot. So they're in the box seat for that. They want to drive that home, and home being the operative word, advantage will be key for them to do so. So expect some goals from them. Watkins to get on the score sheet in this one. In brilliant form against Arsenal, I thought he was absolutely superb. Watched him through his time in the EFL, the lower leagues of England. He just worked so hard, and he's not changed his style at all. Gives defenders no rest whatsoever. Arsenal, arguably the best defensive side in the Premier League, arguably got the best centre back pairing. They were given a right going over by him on Sunday, and he makes defenses make mistakes because he doesn't give them a second. We saw that from Gabriel, where he went through in the first half, nearly opened the score and hit the inside of the post. Very unlucky. Didn't let his head drop, though, with that. Another chance, very similar in the second half. Brilliant run, great time run, and such a cool finish. Shows you the confidence of the man at the moment. Shows you the form that he's in. 19 goals. He's banging with a chance of winning that golden boot. Obviously, with like Palmer scoring a few and Haaland still up there. But, the other thing to make a note of on that is, unlike those other players, no penalties in those 19 goals. So all those goals from him from open play. So we're not reliant on them getting a penalty kick here. Open play, he creates the chances, he finishes the chances. So Bournemouth played well against Man United. I think they should have won that game, as we expected them to have lots of chances, but they do concede them as well. And we said they should have put that game to bed, but they let United into it, and United scored a couple against them. So at Villa, we'd expect Villa to be getting some chances as well. The reverse ended 2-2. Watkins scored and assisted in the Villa goals for that one as well. And since missing that Manchester City game recently, he's come in and scored 4 goals in his 3 appearances for Villa since then. At least 1 goal in all of those, and he scored in 7 of his last 11 Premier League outings, totaling 10 goals. So absolutely fantastic form. He's not let it drop, and I'm taking him to get on the score sheet here again at plus money. And we've said it before, if this was one of the other big guys at home to Bournemouth, they would have been big minus money, and we're getting plus money on him.
Plus 104, Ollie Watkins to score at any time in the game against Bournemouth. Villa need to win. Yeah, top 5, not good enough anymore. With Italy and Germany taking those 2 spots, almost certainly can turn around, but it's pretty unlikely. Let's just get the thoughts of the boys on the 2 teams that are involved in the title race. We're also going to get some FA Cup leans as well for you. Wolves against Arsenal is Saturday, 2:30 Eastern, and Fulham Liverpool is 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. Wolves are plus 750 here. Arsenal, big minus money. Nigel up plus minus 278. And Fulham plus 475. Liverpool minus 190. The books, the traders are expecting the 2 teams to bounce back after their Premier League defeats last weekend. What do we think here? Any slip-ups? Do you see Arsenal off the back of that Champions League exit being in the doldrums? What are your thoughts on these 2 games here?
I think the Wolves match is all about the attitude of Wolves. I think if Wolves have sort of their form has dipped a little bit, the manager's obviously been moaning about everything that's happened to him in the last few weeks. Their season was on the FA Cup, and I think if Wolves are up for it, and I think they really are reading up through what they're thinking about next season, I think 7-1 Wolves at home is a big price. I do. I really do. I think this is a difficult match for Arsenal, and this is a young squad, young manager. I know they're he's been in the job a bit of a while now, but he's still inexperienced. And we saw what happened to Arsenal last season when they went out the league and everything just sort of capitulated. And I just got that kind of feel that it might just completely fall down, go completely all wrong again for them. Saying that, someone mentioned on a YouTube channel the other day, on a tennis channel, and he's moaning about us saying that, I want to come on for winners. I don't want to come on for value. I want to come on for Williams and values. Well, the likelihood is Arsenal going to win, but they're minus 265. Would I bet Arsenal at minus 265? But
minus 278 now.
Yeah, minus 270. Well, do I give Wolves a better percentage chance than what? 11%, yeah, 11% to win a match. Yes, I do. I give them a much better percent. I'm not saying to win the match, but I think Wolves should start around about 5-1. So if you think that's a little bit of value, I probably look to the Asian handicap with Wolves plus 1.5. I mean, Arsenal again, going back to this theory, Arsenal just needs to get on the winning trail. They don't want to. They don't care if they win 3, 4, 5. They just want to win. 3 points that's all it does. So really, if I'm looking at it here, I think Wolves are too big at 7s. Arsenal are too short, minus 265. So that gives me to the 2.68, whatever, 278.
Minus 278. Well, okay.
So I'm going to go for the Asian handicap. I bet Wolves on the Asian handicap.
Right. What about Fulham and Liverpool?
I think Liverpool. I think Liverpool look tired. I think Liverpool that one doesn't look so difficult. I can understand why the odds are a lot different there. I think Liverpool will bounce back because I think Liverpool, unlike Arsenal, are creating a huge amount of chances. I mean, last week Liverpool should have been 4-0 up. So Liverpool are creating chances, and against Manchester United should be 4-0 up at half time. Liverpool will beat someone 5 or 6 before the end of the season. It's coming. Whereas Arsenal, I'm not so sure. So I think the more team on the Asian handicap, I think there's more likely of the Liverpool covering than Arsenal covering. So I think Liverpool will edge it, probably in a high scoring game. And I would go for Wolves plus 1.5 at minus 129.
Jack, what do you think? The 2 title chasers just behind City, of course, as we know. Any slip-ups, both wins? What do we think?
I wouldn't take both wins on this either. And I think, that Wolves one does look like a potential banana skin. We know what Wolves can do at home, again, with their crowd behind them. I think, and they'll be looking at some games and they'll probably be putting a bit more in for some than others. And this is one of those games that, do you know what, we fancy having a go at this and putting a bit of a spoke in a title challenge. It kind of adds a bit more spice to a game rather than a complete and utter dead rubber. So I think they've got the scope in there to do that, especially at a big price, especially with Arsenal off the back of those 2 real tough defeats. And they look like they're running on empty, Arsenal, and I thought they were a bit flat against Bayern Munich last night. So I think Wolves can take advantage of that one. The plus handicaps there for Wolves, I think, are appealing. I actually fancy a few goals in that one because I just expect Arsenal to rotate a little bit. So, as as far as the Fulham Liverpool one's concerned, a bet I like there is for Fulham to be either like Liverpool to win from behind or Fulham to win in at half time, Liverpool to turn it around and win in the second half. Liverpool have conceded the first goal 21 times this season, which is incredible for a side that are challenging for the title. Yeah.
That's incredible, sir.
They can. We know they've got the firepower. Nigel's touched on it there. They're creating so many chances, and yes, they're missing loads, but that can't be sustainable. That can't be something that does continue constantly over the last 2 or 3 games we've seen it. And the key thing for them is, unlike with Arsenal, that have not got the striking talent to take advantage and can't really rotate some proper quality goal scorers in. Liverpool have now got Diogo Jota back, who is their most clinical striker. Obviously, Salah's there. You'd expect him to take some chances. And then the other two, who are a little bit more wasteful, will pitch in between them. But they've got a fantastic attacking front line of Liverpool. So, yeah, I expect them to beat Fulham. I'll take it from behind to give it a bit more value. And, I'd be interested on Wolves on the plus.
Just one other thing about the Liverpool game as well. Obviously, they've got to turn around this 3-0 at Atalanta win tonight. So say they get that to 3-0 and then go into extra time. That's not going to help them. So, that's another factor to think about for Liverpool if you want to take Liverpool at minus money or take the Asian handicap, because it wouldn't shock me if Liverpool got 3 goals back and went all the way to extra time. That's the way they play.
That's what they do.
The Arsenal-Liverpool double incident, if you want to play them both on the parlay, it's just over even money. If you want to play 2 draws, it's just under 25-1. If you want to play both the outsiders, Fulham and Wolves, it's 50-1. If you had a free $10, where's the value for the doubles? Liverpool, Arsenal, draws, or the outsiders?
I'll have to go for the.
If you go 50s, wouldn't you?
I'd go for the favourites, actually.
Would you?
Yeah, because part of my parlay wouldn't be that. My parlay would be 1 draw and 1 away win. But 1 Liverpool win and 1 draw in the Arsenal game.
FA Cup semi-final weekend. Let's quickly rattle through these and just get the boys' leans on it. We've got City, Chelsea, and Coventry, Manchester United. Of course, City are minus 225, Chelsea plus 575, and the draw plus 370. Obviously, per 90 prices here. Cover plus 550. United minus 225, the draw plus 380 here. The futures prices, Nigel, here we got City minus 162, of course, won it last year. United beating the final plus 225, Chelsea plus 600, Coventry a 30-1. Any thoughts on the FA Cup semi-finals this weekend for those that want to get involved? I mean, is it a good time for Chelsea to pay City off the back of that Real Madrid exit? Have Coventry got a bit of a puncher's chance against United? What do you think?
Well, if there's any time, because a good time to play Manchester City, now is a good time to play Manchester City. I think that game there. I think that, well, it's really difficult to say how Chelsea going to go for it, but you would expect a few goals, wouldn't you? I mean, the way these two play, the way that their matches have been this season, you would expect goals.
Over 3.5 is minus 135.
I would probably bet both teams to score double in both matches.
Nice.
That would probably be my bet. I'd bet both teams, a parlay, both teams to score. In the Coventry match, I expect goals. Man United, we know they concede. Every time the ball goes in the box, they look like they're going to concede. They concede more shots than anyone. And one thing Coventry do is they're very good counter-attackers and got goals in them. 25 goals in Coventry matches on the cup run through to this stage. Obviously not of the caliber of Manchester United, some of the opposition, but I would expect them to score. So I think both teams to score double. That would be my interest in the FA Cup semi-finals.
Jack, would you like any value in these 2 games?
I think Chelsea might cause a little bit of a surprise. I think this one might actually go again. Another one, Man City be delighted. It'll take another one to extra time. I quite fancy the draw in that. Both league games have ended all square this season. One extreme to the other. One was 4-4. One was 1-1. And I think on a bit of a high after that Monday night thrashing of Everton, and with Manchester City, I'm sure be admittedly rotating some fair talent in. I think Chelsea got a chance there. And with Coventry, I'll probably be looking at a handicap there because that plus 550. Yeah, I think we might be able to get a bit. I can't see Man United like streaking clear of it. But I like the goal scorers. I think Nigel touched on it. They've got goals in them. Ellis Sims, 13 league goals this season. Haji Wright, familiar to our American viewers and listeners, 15 goals for him. So I'd probably maybe do a little, if we do not go on the parlay side, go for Cole Palmer to score for Chelsea and for Haji Wright to score for Coventry.
Both teams have scored double incidentally, around about plus 180 at the minute. If you want to play that, certainly goals on the agenda, we believe, when it comes to the FA Cup semi-finals. Before we let you escape, best bets. Nigel, what's your best bet when it comes to this weekend slate?
Going to go for Luton, draw no bet, plus 130.
And Jack?
I had it written down, exactly the same bet.
Really?
Yeah, Luton's the strongest play for me.
To have just been copying all week. It just saves you the work, doesn't it? I bet
Send you my notes.
You do the stats for that one. I'll do the stats for this, and it'll save a bit of a job. Nigel, Jack, thanks for your company. Good luck with your picks. That's a wrap for Matchday 34, Betting Weekly Premier League show. We're going to be back on Monday. Is this right, Nigel? We've got a bit of an extra show. We've got some rescheduled games, so it's not necessarily an official match week or so, but there's plenty of games next midweek. Are we booked in?
Yep, booked in for Monday.
Wonderful stuff. So Jack and Nigel will be back. I'll be alongside them for more value plays when it comes to the Premier League. From all of us for now, though, it's goodbye.